and scary the world might be right now, there will be light. Brooks, I will find the man who did this.
He's not been sleeping. Now he's hurting himself.
I'm testing myself. Alfred, can you teach me how to fight?
Yes, I can.
I need you to get me a gun.
Doing this, you won't ever be the same.
That's what I'm counting on.
He got his name, the man that killed Bruce's parents. He's gonna kill the man.
I'm a monster. Do it!
I wish you were a monster. But you're just a man.
I promised Bruce Wayne I'd solve his parents' murder.
The Wayne case is closed, Jim. Perp is dead.
But who hired him? Why? I need to find out.
Whatever your father was doing, he did it in secret for a reason.
The man who contracted Matches Malone to kill your parents called himself the Philosopher. He runs Arkham now.
Hugo Strange.
I've been hired by a client to look into an old Wayne Enterprises program called Pinewood Farms.
The program was started by Thomas Wayne to cure humanity's greatest ailments on the genetic level. Old age, disease, even death.
The program tried to play God, and you ended up creating monsters.
I was just a researcher with no knowledge of that.
I believe you ran Pinewood Farms. I believe you've restarted the program.
The only reason you're sitting in that chair is because I allow it. So let me ask you, why are you here?
Why is she not under arrest?
The evidence we have is far too tenuous.
I fear we're going down the same path as before, and we won't get justice unless...
Unless what?
What you did to Gallivant.
I chose to kill a man in cold blood. Crossing that line, you'll pay for it. And it will make you more like the evil you're trying to fight.
Do they know what you've become? What I turned you into?
Strong as an ox, fast as a snake.
Mad as a hatter.
His psyche couldn't reconcile death and rebirth until we gave it a grander context. Command me.
That is a demon.
What's going on here?
He lives in fire.
Get out of here!
That case will give you everything you need to destroy him.
Get out of here! Let me out of here! Let me out! I want to get out of here!
Try opening the chest, my son. He's going to need something to wear.
So, in a nutshell, Hugo Strange is making monsters out of dead people in his spare time.
I know it sounds far-fetched.
Far-fetched? It sounds insane.
James Gordon, the time for your penance has come.
I am the angel of death. James Gordon dies. Tonight. I will show you the way to hell. I know the way.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So we got a good look at Azrael on Gotham. If you don't know why they call this the movie trailer, they're just calling it like a cinematic trailer. They're not actually releasing a Gotham movie. The cool thing about the Azrael character, he's been around for a long time. Most of you probably remember him as the guy who took over for Batman after Bane broke his back during the Nightfall storyline. That all went down during that period in the mid-90s when they were like, okay, we're going to be super hardcore, we're going to kill Superman, so there was the big Death of Superman arc, and we're going to break the Batman. Those were the two big events that actually got me started reading comics, or actually seeking them out. Before then, I'd really only bought Spider-Man comics piecemeal when we were on family vacations, and I'd just like grab a comic book and throw it in the bin that my mom was buying groceries or something like that. But no matter how old you are, when you look at something like this, you're just like, oh my god, I have to buy this. I don't understand what's going on, but it looks so amazing. A lot of you might have seen him during the Batman Arkham game. Just because that game was so big, they put almost every single Batman character there's ever been from the comics in it. I think the Azrael stuff was downloadable content that they released after the initial game came out. So what happened is Azrael debuted as a character the year before that Nightfall storyline. Then during 1993, during the Nightfall storyline, he debuted as the new Batman. And if we were to characterize the Batman as the Dark Angel of Gotham, then you understood where things were headed when they call Azrael the Angel of Death. So justice got way more hardcore. When Batman recovered from his injuries, he had to take down Azrael just because he got so hardcore. Denny O'Neil, longtime Batman writer, creator of Ra's al Ghul, was also one of the creators of Azrael. He actually said they had a lot of character problems writing Azrael because they wanted to take him from being kind of a villain because he was so hardcore to being a hero, and it didn't quite work out the way they wanted to. So I think that was part of the reason why they brought the Batman back so quickly. It's like when they killed Superman in the comics and you had the reign of the Superman, like a bunch of people surface claiming to be the new Superman, and a lot of people just aren't down with it. They're like, this is lame. I want the version of Superman that I know. I want the real Superman to come back. So editorial is like, okay, we got to bring Batman, we got to bring Superman back as fast as possible. But the TV show Gotham is actually combining a bunch of story arcs from the comics. They're combining some early Azrael storyline. The storyline that he actually started in was called Batman, Sword of Azrael. But later he got his own series. Then he came back for Battle for the Cowl when Batman effectively died during Final Crisis and a bunch of Robins were fighting for the title of Batman. So they bring him back every once in a while. But in the comics, he is not created by Hugo Strange. That's something that the TV show has changed. Hugo Strange does create a lot of monsters, so what they're doing is they're combining a big Hugo Strange arc from the comics with an Azrael arc with Bruce's quest to find out who killed his parents, and they've also changed that from the comics too. So in most versions of the Batman origin story, Joe Chill is the person that kills his parents, but what the TV show has done is said that Hugo Strange ordered the hit on his parents because his father was trying to shut down his research. And on top of that, Matches Malone is the person that actually pulled the trigger. Matches Malone in the comics is an alias that Batman uses when he's trying to infiltrate the mob. So the TV show is just mixing a lot of different aspects of the Batman canon. There's a lot of stuff going on here. But the cool thing is they're pretty upfront about what they're doing. Like they'll say it out loud. Like they say the name Matches Malone, you know exactly what that is. When they say Azrael, you know exactly who that is. There are a few minor changes from the Azrael origin story. In the comics, his name is Jean-Paul Valley. He's just like a normal Gotham citizen that doesn't know that he's part of this ancient lineage, the Order of Saint Dumas. Now on the TV show, Theo Gallivan is a fake name by someone from the Dumas family who was kicked out of like the super special club of Gotham's founding fathers. So they went overseas, founded the Order of Saint Dumas, and plotted their revenge. So that was like the first half of the season. The Order of Saint Dumas engineering the downfall of the Wayne family and a coup in Gotham. The second half of the season is kind of like an adaptation of Batman and the Monster Men, that storyline from the comics. Hugo Strange creates a bunch of monsters that run rampant on Gotham. Batman has to clean up the mess. It's just that the TV show is just using a bunch of very notable villains as those monsters. But if you've ever noticed, sometimes they'll drop verbal references, like they say, he's mad as a Hatter. That doesn't mean he's going to be the Mad Hatter, but the show will do Mad Hatter to a certain point. If you're confused about the Batman villains that Gotham gets to do, they essentially have free reign of the Batman canon. They can do anybody from his rogues gallery, but I think there are certain limits on that. Like they can't do the exact same thing that the movies are doing. But for those of you asking, now that they've done a Supergirl crossover with the CW DC shows, I do think that someday they could do a Gotham crossover, so they'd have to use a multiverse explainer, or the Flash, for instance, would have to go back in time. But because the tone of Gotham is so much closer to the tone of Arrow, or even Lucifer, because Lucifer is a DC Comics show, but it's kind of off on its own because it's based on a Neil Gaiman character from his Sandman comics, which is a Vertigo title, which wasn't part of like the main DC canon. So I actually like that. Gotham and Lucifer, both on Fox, there's a pretty good shot that they could cross over if they really wanted to. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about Azrael so far? They gave him the sword, he's got the suit, so he is just going to go out and start killing a whole bunch of people now. There's a bunch of other stuff happening this weekend, so I'm going to try and do a couple extra videos on Saturday before we get started with Game of Thrones on Sunday. There'll be like a big Game of Thrones catch-up video too, so be sure to subscribe to get that stuff. While you guys wait for my next video to post, you can click here to learn all about Zoom on the Flash. They did a big reveal, so it was kind of confusing, so I tried to explain it the best I could. And you can click here to start getting ready for Game of Thrones this weekend. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.